But it starts showing higher value where you have enough complexity that exceeds
Mm,
the human's ability to keep everything together
right.
within one brainstorming session, because you tend to get distracted. There are so many details, there are so many layers, and Flowsiti does very well just taking that complexity and isolating the issues, categorizing them.
Hey there. Welcome to the Speak and Flow podcast. I am so glad you're here. This show is for leaders who care. Leaders who know that when things get messy, the way we communicate makes all the difference. Every week, I sit down with incredible guests, founders, VPs, rising stars, to unpack real moments of today where communication matters. We talk about what works, what doesn't, and how you can lead conversations that create trust, movement, and momentum. Because in uncertain times like today, your words have weight. Let's use them well. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we help CEOs build leadership teams to run the business with them and not through them. Today, we are talking about leading through uncertain times. How do we have transparent conversations even when we don't know what is happening, when there's lots of change? How do we make the right decisions? Joining me today is an executive, technology and operations executive with 25 years of experience. He is the CEO of Flowsiti. Welcome, Younes Aatif.
Thank you, Melinda. Pleasure to be here.
Hi, Eunice. It's great to have you on here, and I'm excited to dive in. So let's start off with this first question. There is a leader out there who has stopped to listen to this podcast, and they're busy. But what do you hope can change in this person's life if they take everything into account, or at least one or two things into account, what you're about to tell them?
Well, first of all, the feeling that you are isolated is true. The sense that you do not know everything that's happening, and the fear of missing out of critical information is a real thing. So they have my empathy and my support for that.
Hmm.
And the second thing is, what they should not lose sight of is they don't have to have all the answers all the time. The team relies on them to lead them through these uncertain times and uncertainty in general. They do not expect perfection. They expect truthfulness, and they expect transparency and authenticity. When they do know, they should say that. When they are uncertain, then they should say that as well. And that's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I think so too. When people sense that you're lying or pretending and not telling the entire truth, then you're breaking the trust. So be more authentic and speak about it quickly, quickly as you can. To
100%.
try. Hmm.
And we went through many situations. COVID is being the most, I want to say, stereotypical example of we did not know what's going to happen by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to communicate what we will do tomorrow when we had no idea what will
Yeah.
happen 2 hours from now. Um, and there are a few other examples like that, but I think COVID is the most common that we all lived
Yeah.
through. What was expected back then is, will I get paid? Are we going to be in business till end of week? Are you going to basically guarantee a minimum of income as long as we're all together in this thing? You have my loyalty and you have my attention. And
Yeah.
as executives, we had to send that message like, yep, this is how much I know. This is how much I don't know. This is what I'm trying to do. And the rest is, I will let you know as soon as I have more updates. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
yes, we're in this together.
Hmm. And you have a story about being in a company where they had different information behind closed doors, and then but the narrative that they were communicating to the public, to the staff, was very different. Can you share that?
Well, I was part of, I think, three companies that went through acquisitions. And
Hmm.
every time, once you go through the first one, then you pick up the sign, then you know what's going on. But now, hindsight, Looking back, yes, I was part of both conversations. One in the open, where there was one narrative shared with the employees. No, no, we're fine. Everything is fine. Nothing to see here. It's business as usual. But behind closed door, there was another narrative. It's like we gotta package this thing. We gotta make these changes. We gotta lay off these people. We gotta hire these other people. And that dissonance, that difference in narrative between what happened behind closed doors and what was shared publicly created some, well, I call it dissonance because it is, but it created a conflict in how we communicate around sensitive topics. And there are signals that employees definitely pick up. People are very smart and they understand their own culture or the culture of their own companies. So when they start noticing even subtle differences, then they start
Mm-hmm.
asking questions. Now, how much can you reveal when you are told not to share anything? That actually puts people like me, or at least put me in the past, in some unethical situations where I had to choose between concealing what I had to conceal, but also share enough to remain truthful. And the teams do pick up on that, and that's your credibility on the line. That's the commitment. That people start questioning: Am I trusting the right people here or not? It happened more than once, but in one case, it was so obvious that literally people would, that was the only thing they were talking about. Is this
Right.
company being sold? Is my job safe? Yes or no? And some of them went as far as, you know what, I'm updating my resume. I'm out of here because I don't think you guys are telling me the truth. So it created some tension. Um, was there a better way to handle it? I would say probably yes. Was it justified? I would say also probably yes. There's a reason why
Mm-hmm.
you don't share, because you are in the early days of negotiating deals, you are actually under the legal obligation to keep everything secret. So the lawyers get involved, the CFOs get involved, and you're sworn to secrecy for a reason. But here we're talking about the impact on culture and behavior and relationships between executive leadership and employees. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely takes a hit, and it should be mitigated and managed through open communication. You can say, probably there will be some changes. And if you can issue those guarantees that jobs are safe, then you should do that as soon as possible to diffuse the
Mm-hmm.
tension.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tie this for back to what you do at Flowsiti because I think there's an interesting parallel between communication. Because when you spoke about how communication has a ripple effect, like from executive leadership to employees, and we wanted to have that streamline. We want to have that effective. We want to have the right communication all the way downstream. But then sometimes it's not as smooth or the information gets lost. And in this case, the information was incorrect. So people started making things up. For
Absolutely.
Flowsiti and what you do, how does that support? Is there a way that Flowsiti supports communication too, making it more tight, making it more streamlined and
Yes,
consistent?
yes.
So,
And
and
I
then,
think
yeah,
the
for the audience, you could tell a little bit about what Flowsiti does first.
yeah, we have to, yeah, to set the stage. Flow City is a platform that ingests the organization's reality, artifacts like meeting notes, what do you call it, SOPs, data from CRM, ERP system, metadata, um, everything that the organization produces as artifacts to document the work and to document plans and intent. All of it is ingested, and there is an AI based but also deterministic engine that takes all of that and starts making sense out of it, to show you where the structural gaps within an organization is, where the issues are, and what the fixes should be. And that creates a blueprint, a digital blueprint of your whole organization that captures the DNA of that organization. Then it can be translated into executable solutions. For example, if you capture the DNA of your organizations, expressing how you sell your products, or what kind of products you have and how you make them and how you support them and how you bill for them, and how you manage your teams and how you recruit. what the goals are over the next few years. All of that creates a context for Flowsiti to reason through it, find the structural gaps, flags the challenges, and shows you the opportunities and help you build that blueprint that can be translated into CRM, ERP, or custom solutions, or just a reflection of what the policies or SOPs are missing, what kind of framework you should adopt, and so on and so forth. That gives you a baseline of reality. This is reality as you see it, but also as an objective, agnostic platform sees it and reasons through it. From there, you can develop a communication plan. You can say, these are the goals. And for us to reach the goals, these are the steps we have to go through. And practically, this is what it means to you, sales team. This is what it means to you, my delivery team. This is what it means to you, my HR team. That way, in their own language, they have a clear understanding of what the translation of the intent is. So they have action items that they can act upon. And many, many times that's the missing link between, hey, would like to make this company great. Let's make this company great again. And to, okay, well, what do I have to do in the next 3 months to actually support that goal? And do I have to change in the third quarter what I've been doing in the last 2 quarters, or I have to do more of the same? These questions, they are very difficult to answer on an ongoing basis. And I remember my job as a CEO of Arcus, a lot of my time was actually spent with the middle management trying to explain why they have to do things in a certain way so they can support other departments, but also support the goals of the company overall. So back to uncertainty, we're living around, and we're surrounded actually by uncertainty constantly. Things change all the time. And you multiply that by the number of executives and the number of middle management and the number of employees you have in your organization, then that uncertainty is multiplied, and you're dealing with complexity, and you have to manage both aspects, both dimensions at the same time. So to cut through it and have that sharp laser focus all the time is not an easy task. So
Yeah.
Flowsiti.
Yeah. And then also sometimes, like you said, to cut through it, you stick with it, and then you like there's so many variables. So this is almost like you call it MRI, an assessment where you're at. So it gives you more confidence that you're making the right choice, and you're directing and guiding the people in the right way, because sometimes people can they say, well, I'm doing this XYZ. Why are we doing ABC?
Yeah,
And does it
yeah,
really make sense? And like you said, you spend a lot of time with the middle management and explaining why is it that they needed to do what they needed to do.
yeah.
So I could see how this Flow City could support their efforts, because they see it more of a outside perspective.
And yes, and middle management is just an example. You could be spending a lot of time with the board. You could be spending a lot of time with
Right.
the C-suite or with your clients, basically articulating what the value prop is. Whichever action you end up adopting, it has to be anchored in reality, and that reality is hard to see without
Right.
that MRI report.
With that, Emma,
You get
yeah. Do you find that the leaders are incorrect? Because I would think that they know where the structural um, pitfalls are in the company. Do you see that this report will shows them wrong?
it will no, it's not about getting it wrong or right. It's about
Mm-hmm.
displacing the center of gravity away from the political network of an organization to something that's more objective everyone can point to. if
Mm,
if
yeah,
if,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
say the
yeah.
Flow City reports indicated that we have to do Z, it is a much more comfortable position than saying I recommend to do XYZ, because
Right.
that's a politically charged statement, even though
Mm-hmm,
it
mm-hmm.
can be backed by facts. But we know organizations are political ecosystems where you come with political goodwill and capital, and you start making arbitrage decisions. Do I spend my political capital on this fight, or do I keep it for the next fight? And the truth starts getting diluted the same way the responsibility gets diluted. When you adopt an agnostic platform like Flowsiti, it doesn't care about people's emotions and political capital. It cares about facts, and it can point to the source of its
Mm-hmm.
recommendations. Now, you can agree with it or disagree, but it's a much safer position to present a report that it is to actually go in a head-on collision with your boards or with your C-suite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think so that and what kind of companies, what size companies is the
I
right
think it
size
does.
for this?
Uh, I would say all companies are welcome to use it, but it starts showing higher value where you have enough complexity that exceeds
Mm,
the human's ability to keep everything together
right.
um, within one brainstorming session, because you tend to get distracted. There are so many details, there are so many layers, and Flowcity does very well just taking that complexity and isolating the issues, categorizing them, but also keeping that connection alive when needed on an ad hoc basis. So where complexity starts increasing, typically mid-market enterprise, then Flowcity becomes a no-brainer because it helps you think through the layers where one person or even a small group of people cannot keep track of all the moving pieces.
Yeah, yeah. And what are some examples? What is one example of a structural improvement that it can find once you put in all the information? You said it finds structural uh
Yeah,
problems.
there are
What's
certain
an ex
laws. For example, reachability is one law, and when we look at all your context, and we can isolate this one critical task executed or meant to be executed by a team or by one person, but we will also identify that there are no connections between that one person and the upstream processes, or there are no connections between that one team. Let's call it a node in a workflow in a network and whatever is coming downstream. So let's assume I am a compliance manager and I do generate a compliance report, but there is no flow or no process for that report to travel to the team that needs to know about it, the compliance
Mm,
team or the CFO or the controller or the CIO or the COO office. And either there is no flow whatsoever, or actually the fields within that compliance report are not all aggregated to make it to the next level. Flowcity is really good at finding those inconsistencies and those omissions. That's a
mm, mm,
reachability law that's breached, and it will flag it and say, you have this node right here that's completely isolated. It's meant to be the trigger for this reporting process. This is not going to run. It will never run under the current conditions. You are missing these fields, you're missing these triggers, and this is how to fix it. So that would
mm,
be an example of things that get buried in the complexity that no one sees anymore. It could be something simple as a checkbox that's missing from the CRM config, or it could be just a whole table that's missing from your
mhm.
database, or a complete role that no one has ever hired for because they either got busy or they made some
Right.
other decisions.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. How did you come up with this? What was the story?
Stories, 25 years of frustration is going out there and building things and delivering and realizing we delivered the wrong thing and having to go back and patch it or rebuild it
Yeah,
and go back to the
yeah,
client and apologize and eat your
yeah,
words that we provide the best service. I think just
yeah,
years and years of embarrassment and people pounding on
right,
desks and screaming and yelling. It's like, okay, I got to fix this, but you don't fix it by building just a better
right,
framework.
right.
I just basically I built something that I wish I had 20, 15, 10 years ago when I was going out there and providing
Yeah.
my consulting services and
Yeah.
vouching for the quality of my team to provide the best solution.
Right.
So that's where it's
And
coming
it's not,
from.
it has nothing to do with your team. It's just that we're not fixing the root cause of what the
Exactly.
challenges were in the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I had access, I remember Relation Edge, I had access to the best team. People came from the top four consulting companies. We
Hmm.
had the best talent in the business, and we still failed to few times deliver what clients expected.
Hmm.
And I remember, I mean, these are embarrassing moments, and I had a
Hmm.
few of those. And that's when I started thinking, it's like, we need a better way. We need a better way. But not a better way, meaning we need a methodology that checks double and triple checks everything that's documented. Methodology frameworks will only take you uh, that far before the structural failure starts showing up again. So
Hmm.
that's what led to Flowsiti. We need something different, a different approach to solving the problem.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I agree. Well, I mean, it's led you here and it's led you this far.
Yes,
And
yes,
sometimes when you look back and you wonder, why did I go through all those things? Now you know why.
exactly. It was worth it. All those
Yeah.
yelling and screaming sessions, I think they were worth it. They were the motivation to keep going and building something meaningful.
Yeah. And so going back to the conversation around leading in uncertain times, it sounds like this was going to help people with that and help people with having the right information, and assessment, diagnostic, and knowledge about what is truly not working well so we can communicate more clearly and authentically.
100%. Medicine led the way, gave us the example of how to approach diagnosing issues and recommending remedies.
Yeah.
Engineering disciplines did the same thing. It's like, let's take a look, let's gather the facts, and let's do our calculations before we deploy
Yeah.
solutions. And I think it's
Yeah.
time for the enterprise software to be at the service of businesses and not the opposite.
Mm.
Where we create software that solves real problems
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
doesn't just create busy work for IT
Hmm.
departments and developers to keep
To
them
to
busy.
Well, and then
Um,
also to like make, I think they've done that before to keep people more not so efficient. So like IT and technology is keeping people efficient, but what you're doing is keeping it so that it's meeting the objectives and the goals and the intent of the company, and everybody is following that direction
how do you
and
know what
working
your
through. Yeah,
how
yeah,
do you know your IT team or consultants are actually working for 9 months, 18 months, building what you need
right,
to
right,
actually meet your
right,
goals? You don't, right?
right.
You
You
go
don't.
to sprint meetings, you get reports, you get Jira
Yeah,
boards and graphs,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, good progress, good progress, good progress. Then the solution gets deployed. three
yeah,
months later, the ROI is not there. You
yeah,
committed hundreds
yeah,
of thousands of dollars in licensing
yeah,
fees, consulting fees, and
yeah,
you're not seeing it, but you're trying to capture it after the fact. What I'm saying is,
yeah,
just try to capture it before any line of code is written. Then
yeah.
by the time we start writing code, which with the use of AI is no longer a barrier, we're actually coding for the right thing. And the cost of failure just drops dramatically from
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to virtually zero. I don't think it will ever be zero zero, but if we create a platform or an environment that can model what the future looks like and can run through the scenarios and measure impact on business, then yes, we can start talking about a virtually zero cost of failure because we eliminate the failure altogether.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, I think this is a really good time because people are into, AI and
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to help them support the expansion of the company, and so this is going to help them to make the right decisions. And as they are thinking about expansion and how there's so many variables and changes, but this will help them give them a good sense, a better
Yeah,
sense.
Yes, and there is currently, or there has been a lot of talk about automation. And I can see the benefit of that. If your teams are not executing fast enough, then agents can help you execute, whether making cold calls or processing
Mm.
customer service or tech support inquiries. Agents can automate a lot of that and do a great job. As long as you are automating the right processes, then you should be good. The question
Mhm.
is, are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, right. Exactly.
How do you know?
Exactly. We don't know. So here comes Flow City.
Exactly.
Well, awesome. Well, if someone wants to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
Flowsiti.com. Flow,
Okay.
I mean, spelled behind you, FLOW.
FLOW.
Yes, SITI .com. That the website provides more information, and that's the best way to reach out, or LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you, Eunice. Thank you. It was so interesting. I really enjoyed and learned a lot about Flow City and about how the impact that it can have on companies, especially during uncertain times.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. And remember, when you communicate, communicate often, communicate what matters so people move together. Take care. Thanks for tuning in today. If this conversation sparked something for you, if you're thinking, we talk a lot in our organization and things still fall through the cracks, we're not getting the results that we want, I've got something for you that might help. It's called the Accountability Self-Assessment, and it takes less than 60 seconds. In one quick review, you'll get real insights as to why accountability and results are slipping on your team. And you'll walk away with a legacy accountability card. It's a simple one-pager framework to help you and your team move talk to traction. Because the legacy of you and your team is built more than just meetings. It's built on clarity, consistency, and follow through. So grab it today. Go to speakandflow.com or click on the link in the show notes. It's free, fast, and built for busy leaders like you. See you next time. Until then, keep communicating with impact and momentum.